call upon Dr. Rajeshwari M., Assistant Professor from Department of Biostatistics, JIPMER, to deliver her lecture on correlation and regression. Madam, please.
Yes, thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. I'll share my screen. Sir, can you please give me the permission to share the screen, sir? Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes, madam, you are audible.
Dr. Udaya Kumar, she wants to share the slide.
Sir, just working on it, sir. Ma'am, you should be able to share now.
No, ma'am, it is disabled.
Ma'am, try it now. The sign, yes, ma'am. Now it should be working.
There are two Rajeshwaris. Rajarajesh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Rajeshwari M.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Ma'am,
Yeah, I got the
your
permission. Yeah, I got the permission. Thank you. My screen is visible?
Yes, madam, visible.
Yeah, it is in the slideshow format, sir. Slideshow mode.
It is visible
Yeah,
anyhow.
it is slideshow. It is
Yeah.
a slideshow. Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Good afternoon, one and all. My topic is correlation and regression. So to start with my topic, my objectives. Today I will be discussing about the correlation analysis, linear regression, and under linear regression I will be discussing about simple linear regression and multiple linear regression. And in binary logistic regression, I will be discussing about simple logistic regression and multiple logistic regression. To explain these concepts, I have considered a scenario to investigate the correlation of blood glucose level and blood pH value with the cardiac enzyme creatine kinase in patients with diabetic ketoacidosis. This is my scenario I'm going to consider to explain all these concepts. I'm proceeding with my topic with the understanding that you all have a clear idea of basic statistical terms like type of variables, continuous or binary, independent variable or a dependent variable, the normally distributional variable or a stored data. I hope you all are familiar with all these terms. Last 2 days you have been hearing all these terms. So with the understanding that you all are clear with this, I'm going to enter into my topic, correlation and regression. So here I have considered 3 variables. Can anyone list out what are all the variables in this scenario? Can anyone list out what are all the variables? Okay, blood glucose level, blood pH value, and creatine kinase. So these 3 variables what I have considered is, thank you Dr. Gomati for your response. I have considered 3 continuous variables. So with these 3 continuous variables, yesterday Dr. Harichandra Kumar sir was explaining the correlation concept that we are trying to find the relationship between 2 continuous or ordinal variables. So here I have considered 3 continuous variables. Here now we will move to the correlation analysis. It is a method of analysis used to study the relationship between 2 continuous or ordinal variables. Here I have given some examples like correlation between HbA1c and cholesterol, correlation between HDL and cholesterol, and correlation between pain score, and the fentanyl. These are all some of the examples of continuous and the ordinal variables. So in our scenario, we have considered the correlation of blood glucose with CKMB. This relationship can be explained in a graphical manner, that is using a scatter plot. So here, one variable is taken on the x-axis, that is blood glucose, and the other variable is taken in the y-axis, that is CKMB. So here, after plotting these values, you will be getting a graph like this. This is known as a scatter plot or a scatter diagram, used to represent a graphical way of representing the relationship between two variables. So here, from this diagram, were you able to identify any pattern? So here, if you look at the X values, that is blood glucose values, as the blood glucose value increases, we can see there is an increase in the CKMB value also. So we can see a trend here, there is a trend here, and there is a linear relationship existing between the blood glucose and the CKMB value. Both the values are increasing. We can consider there is a positive relationship between blood glucose and CKMB. Similarly, we have one more variable, blood pH. So here I have taken the pH value in the x-axis and CKMB value in the y-axis. So here if you see the pattern, as the value of pH increases, there is a decrease in the CKMB value. So we can consider the pattern is in the other way. That is, there is a negative relationship between the variables pH and CKMB. When talking about correlation analysis, I have used only two variables, the term two variables, and I am not mentioning anywhere that which is an independent variable or which is a dependent variable. Here we will consider two variables, that is pH and CKMB, and in the previous slide I have considered blood glucose level and the CKMB. So between the two variables, what is the relationship? So graphically, we were able to see whether a relationship is present or not. So how to quantify this relationship? Hello, am I audible? Am I audible?
Audible, ma'am.
You are audible.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So we can represent graphically. So how to quantify this relationship? How to find the strength of the relationship existing between these two variables? So here, before going for the quantification, I have shown you two variables, that is blood glucose with CKMB, we have a positive relation, and with pH and CKMB, we have a negative relation. So here I am showing one more graph, like this third one, you can see when two variables are plotted in the x-axis and y-axis, and if your graph looks like this, it shows that there is no relationship between these two variables. And the first two graphs represents the relationship between blood glucose and CKMB and pH and CKMB respectively. So here the third graph represents there is no correlation. So this is just a graphical representation. So next step, after plotting and looking at whether there is a relationship is there or not, next step we will try to quantify what is the strength of the relationship. So how to quantify that? That is by using the correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient is represented using the small letter r. It is the measure of the degree of linear relationship between two continuous or ordinal variables. So here, there was a question in your pre-test, what is the range of correlation coefficient? And there was a discussion also, what is the range of correlation coefficient? Correlation coefficient value always ranges between -1 to +1. Suppose you are performing an correlation analysis, and if you get a value beyond this limit, your calculation is wrong. So always your correlation coefficient lies between -1 to 1. If your correlation is -1 or +1, it represents a perfect positive or a perfect negative correlation. And if your correlation coefficient is equal to 0, it shows that there is no relationship existing between the considered two variables. So here, this correlation coefficient, we need to see what is the sign of the correlation coefficient as well as what is the magnitude, that is what is the value of the correlation coefficient. So if I consider -1, this minus represents the sign. That sign indicates the direction. So this negative symbol represents there is a negative relationship between the two variables, and the value represents the strength of the relationship, the magnitude of the relationship. So correlation coefficient, we need both sign as well as the value to represent the relationship. So here in our scenario, we have considered the correlation of blood glucose level with creatine kinase and the correlation of blood pH level with creatine kinase. So yesterday, you have been getting an idea about this parametric and non-parametric test. Here, I have considered these three variables. Now, in the first part, where I want to assess the correlation between the blood glucose level with creatine kinase, I want to see the normality assumptions. Once we start dealing with the continuous variables, we need to go for the normality assumption. So first I will check whether the two variables follows normal distribution or not. Only if both the variables, that is both blood glucose and creatine kinase, follows normal distribution, I can perform Cole-Pearson correlation coefficient. That is applicable only for the normally distributed continuous variables. In case any one of these variable is not following normal distribution, suppose if blood glucose is not following normal distribution or creatine kinase is not following normal distribution, I cannot use Cole-Pearson correlation. I should go with the equivalent non-parametric part, that is Spearman's correlation coefficient. So this is for non-normally distributed continuous variable, or it can be applied for the ordinal variables. So here I have these three variables what I have considered in my scenario: blood glucose level, creatine kinase and blood pH value follows normal distribution, and I have proceeded with Cole-Pearson correlation coefficient. So the correlation of blood glucose with creatine kinase, already we have seen this scatter plot. So here I have given what is the strength of the relationship. I have quantified the level of relationship existing between these two variables. So R equal to 0.659. So it is an estimate from the sample data. So in the previous sessions, you have been clearly given a point that estimates should be reported with 95% confidence interval. So for correlation coefficient also, we should present 95% confidence interval. So before going for this, first I should check whether the obtained correlation coefficient is significant or not. So for performing that significance, we have the test statistic for testing the significance of correlation coefficient. So we have a test statistic. Always T does not represent the independent student's T. Here it is a test statistic. Yesterday even there was a question, what is the T? If you are performing T test, it will be a T. If you are performing ANOVA, it will be F. If you are performing a chi-square, it will be a chi-square. These are the notations to represent the test statistic value. So here we have a test statistic T to represent the testing of the significance of the correlation coefficient. So from this test statistic, P value can be determined. So I have the formula for confidence interval of R. The confidence interval of R is given by R plus or minus Z1 minus alpha by 2 into square root of 1 minus R square by n minus 2. This Z1 minus alpha by 2 is the standard normal value. So it is always 1.96 for 95% confidence interval. So with these formulas, I'll be able to find out the test of significance of the correlation coefficient, and I'll be able to find out what is the confidence interval for the estimated correlation coefficient. So it should be reported like this. So here the correlation of blood glucose with creatine kinase, I have reported R equal to 0.659 with the p-value of 0.002. So it is a significant correlation. with a 95% confidence interval. Similarly, correlation of blood pH level with creatine kinase. We have already seen this scatter plot. I have given the correlation value R is equal to minus 0.541. It shows it is negatively related. pH and CKMB is negatively related, and it is a significant negative correlation since the p-value is 0.014 and the 95% confidence interval is minus 0.93 to minus 0.15. So this is how we are trying to find out the relationship between two variables. So yesterday there was a question like when I should go for the regression analysis. Madam Usha was asking this question. I wanted to answer that question now. So here, once I was able to find out that exists a relationship, next step I will think, if I know the blood pH value, can I predict what will be the CKMB value? Or if I know what is the blood glucose value, can I predict what is the CKMB value? So when we are moving to the next step of prediction, we will go for this regression analysis. So once we are clear with the relationship exists, we can move to the next step of prediction. So once we enter this prediction, I will start using the terms independent or predictor variable and dependent or response variable, because now we are trying to predict what will be the CPK-MB value with respect to the blood glucose value. When I know blood glucose, can I predict CPK-MB value? So I have an independent or predictor variable and I have a dependent or response variable. So here we will move to the linear regression. So I will start with simple linear regression. Simple linear regression, it provides a structure of the excuse me. Am I audible, sir?
You are.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Here, it derives a prediction equation for estimating the value of dependent variable given the value of independent variable. So here we have the regression equation here. Y is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x plus epsilon. Here this x represents the independent variable and y represents the dependent variable. And the beta coefficients, beta naught represents the y-intercept of the regression line or the y value corresponding to when x is equal to 0. Okay, so this beta naught represents the intercept of the regression line. The next beta coefficient, beta 1, represents the regression coefficient or slope of the regression line. So this beta 1 coefficient represents the average change in the value of the dependent variable for every unit change in the independent variable. I will explain you with the scenario what we have considered, and this epsilon represents the error term. So this is a simple linear regression equation. We have one independent variable of continuous nature. So the scenario what we have considered, I wanted to predict what will be the CPK-MB value when I know the blood pH value. So here the independent variable is blood pH and the dependent variable y is CPK-MB value. So here previously we saw this scatter plot, but we did not saw this straight line. So this straight line represents the regression equation. Only when the regression coefficient is significant, you can put the straight line. Otherwise, the straight line should not be given in the scatter plot. You can just give the scatter plot, but only when the regression coefficient is significant. How we have tested the significance of correlation coefficient, here also we can test whether these beta coefficients are significant or not. Only when the beta coefficient is significant, we can put the straight line in the scatter plot. Otherwise, we cannot put the straight line in the scatter plot. So this is the equation. So These beta coefficients can be estimated from the sample data using the regression analysis. So we will be able to get the beta coefficients here. So if you see, this is the constant. Constant is nothing but the beta naught value 25.536 and this blood pH value minus 1.397. This is the beta 1 coefficient. So this particular equation CPK-MB equal to beta naught plus beta 1 blood pH plus the error term can be rewritten as CPK-MB equal to the coefficient beta naught 25.54 minus 1.4 blood pH. So here this is the regression equation. So this regression equation is written from this regression coefficients. We have the 95% confidence interval of the regression coefficient and we have the test of significance, that is T statistic representing the test of significance of this regression coefficient and whether it is significant or not. So now we will consider this blood pH regression coefficient. Here we can see it is a negative value minus 1.397 and we have the corresponding confidence interval and the test statistic testing the significance of this regression coefficient and it is found to be a significant value because the p-value is 0.014. So it is a significant regression coefficient. So how to interpret this confidence interval? So here if you see this confidence interval minus 2.47 minus 0.32. So what we are checking here is whether my regression equation is not equal to 0 or not. So this confidence interval should not include 0. Then only I can consider this particular independent variable is a significant predictor. Okay, so here my regression coefficient is minus 1.397. The 95% confidence interval is minus 2.47 minus 0.32. So if you see this confidence interval, 0 is not included. Okay, so it shows that the regression coefficient is not equal to 0. So it is a significant regression coefficient. So we can consider it as a significant predictor for predicting this CPK-MB value. So here I have one more statement called R square. This R square is the testing of goodness of fit. What this R square is representing here? This R square explains what proportion of variability in the dependent variable can be explained by the independent variable. So here we have considered the independent variable as blood pH. So this blood pH variable was able to explain 29% of the variability present in the dependent variable. So there are much more variability present here. So we need some more variable also to be included in the model. That is what we can understood from this R square. This is with respect to blood pH value. We have one more independent variable. We have blood glucose. I have performed a simple linear regression. So y is equal to beta naught plus beta 1x plus epsilon. So here x represents the independent variable blood glucose. And we have a regression equation here. And we can interpret the regression coefficients, confidence interval, test statistic and p-value as we have done earlier. Here the constant beta naught is 10.645 and beta 1 is 0.012. So what is this 0.012 representing here? It represents the average change in the dependent variable for 1 unit change in the blood glucose value. I repeat it once again. It represents the average change in the CPK-MB value for 1 unit change in the blood glucose. Suppose blood glucose value increases by 1 unit, that is mg per dl. CPK-MB value, there will be an average increase of 0.012. So here, if you see the R square, it is 44%. So the blood glucose value is able to explain, the variable is able to explain 44% of the variability present in the dependent variable CPK-MB. So here we have performed a simple linear regression. That is, we have considered only one independent variable. Now, if I'm interested in looking at both blood glucose and blood pH together, that is, I want to consider more than one independent variable in my model, I will be going for this multiple linear regression. So, multiple linear regression. Here, it derives a prediction equation for estimating the value of dependent variable given the values of more than one independent variable. So, we have the same equation here, that is y is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus epsilon. Previously, we had an equation y is equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x plus epsilon. There we had only one independent variable, but here we have more than one independent variable. So here we have x1 and x2. x1 and x2 represents the independent variables and y represents a dependent variable. Epsilon is the error term, and these beta coefficients, these regression coefficients can be estimated from the sample data using the regression analysis. So in our scenario, we have considered both blood glucose and blood pH. So this is the multiple linear regression equation. I have my dependent variable CPK-MB and I have more than one independent variable. So here x1 is blood glucose and x2 is blood pH. So this is the regression equation. We can obtain the values of these regression coefficients from this table, and the equation can be rewritten like this. Corresponding confidence interval is given and the test of significance t statistic value and the p value is given. So here the r square value, if you see the r square value, the adjusted r square in the sense it is adjusted for other variables. So when adjusted, the adjusted r square represents 63% of the variability present in the CPK-MB was able to explain by blood glucose and blood pH together. So when I add more variable in my model, that is clinically important, significant variable in my model, it will be, they will be able to explain the most of the variability present in the dependent variable. So even though I have added one more variable, this is able to explain only 63% of the variability present in the dependent variable. So this is with the multiple linear regression. The interpretation of the confidence interval and p-value is similar to what we have seen in the simple linear regression. So this is with multiple linear regression. Now, from the beginning, I have considered all these three variables, blood glucose, blood pH and CPK-MB as a continuous variable. And now, if my dependent variable is of binary nature, okay. Now, if the dependent variable, I have considered it as a binary nature, that is high level CPK and low level CPK. Now, it is not a continuous variable, it is a binary variable. Then I will be moving to logistic regression. So I will be dealing with binary logistic regression because my dependent variable is of binary category, that is high level CPK or low level CPK. So I'll be starting with binary logistic regression. In binary logistic regression, we are trying to study the association between independent exposure variable and the binary dependent or outcome variable. I am more specific here. It is a binary dependent variable. Let me say a categorical variable, it can even have more than two categories also. But when we are working on binary logistic regression, my dependent variable should be of only binary category. That is, only two categories should be there, either yes or no, present or absent. So here I have considered a CPK high level or CPK low level. So this is for the dependent variable. So what about the independent variable here? Here, the independent variable can be a binary variable, that is two categories, a categorical variable, that is it can have more than two categories, it can be an ordinal variable or it can be a continuous variable. So I can have independent variable as binary, categorical, ordinal or continuous. I can have any type of variable as my independent variable to perform a binary logistic regression. So this analysis can be performed in case control study, cohort study, or RCT, wherever you have a binary dependent outcome variable. It is not specific to a particular study design. It can be performed in any study, any type of study where you have a binary dependent outcome variable. That is very important. So here, the variables what we have considered from the beginning, blood glucose. Now I have categorized it as less than 500 or greater than 500 for interpretation, for simple interpretation purpose. I can even consider that blood glucose value as a continuous variable itself. In that way also I can perform the analysis. It is not necessary that it should be converted. For interpretation purpose, now I have converted into a binary variable. Similarly, blood pH, I have converted into a binary variable less than 7.35 and greater than 7.35. Again, I am repeating, it is not necessary that every time all the variables should be converted into a categorical or a binary variable. You can run a binary logistic regression. The independent variable can be a continuous variable also. So here the dependent variable is high or low, CKMB, high CKMB value or low CKMB value. So I have categorized. The cutoff what I have considered may not be a clinically important cutoff. For demonstration purpose, I have considered CKMB value less than 16 and greater than 16. Less than 16 is a low value and greater than 16 is a high value. It may not be clinically important or clinically meaningful, but only for demonstration purpose, I have considered that cutoff. So with this categorization, I wanted to perform a simple logistic regression. So here the independent variable what I'm going to consider is the blood glucose. So it is a binary variable less than 500 or greater than 500. And the dependent variable is CKMB. It is also a binary variable, high level or low level. So now what is the question here? What is the probability or risk or chance of CKMB will be high for the patient with no blood glucose level greater than 500? So this is the question here. So when a patient comes up with a blood glucose level greater than 500, what is the probability that he will have a higher CKMB value, high level of CKMB? So that is my question. So I am not going to in detail explain the theoretical point of how this odds ratio or logistic regression is being performed. I am sensitizing you where this simple logistic regression or multiple logistic regression can be performed. So here for this question, I want to find out what is the probability. So this probability can be obtained by finding the regression coefficients. So now I have run a simple logistic regression analysis considering independent variable as blood glucose and the dependent variable as CKMB. So here it is similar to the table what we have discussed earlier, but if you can see here, we have the coefficient of regression beta and the next value is odds ratio. E to the power of regression coefficient is your odds ratio. Okay, from your regression coefficient, you can get what is your odds ratio. So here, odds ratio is 9.33. So in the previous case, we were trying to find out whether 0 is included in the confidence interval or not. So now, how to interpret this odds ratio with this confidence interval? So here, odds ratio equal to 1 shows that there is no association. And if the odds ratio is greater than 1, it is a risk factor, and odds ratio less than 1 will be considered as a protective factor. So that is how we will interpret the odds ratio. So here, what is the odds ratio we have obtained from the sample data is, it is 9.33. So the odds ratio is 9.33. So when I look at what is the confidence interval for this odds ratio, I will check whether 1 is included in the confidence interval or not. So here it is 1.19 to 72.99. So my in the confidence interval 1 is not included. So we can consider it is a significant odds ratio. So we can check the coefficient, that is 4.53, and the corresponding p-value is 0.033. And here with this confidence interval, I can conclude this blood glucose is a significant predictor for predicting this CKMB. Here, how to interpret this odds ratio? Here I have given a line reference category. So my independent variable is blood glucose. It is a binary variable less than 500 or greater than 500. So the people who have blood glucose value greater than 500, what is the probability that they will have a high level of CKMB? That is my research question. So to answer that question, who is the reference category I am going to consider? So the people who have blood glucose level less than 500 ml, that is 500 mg per dl. When I am comparing to this group of people, the people who had blood glucose level greater than 500 mg per dl will have 9.33 times more risk of getting a high level of CKMB. That is, here I am considering the reference category as the people who are having the less blood glucose level, that is 500 mg per dl. I will repeat the interpretation once again. Here I have considered the reference category as people who have less than 500 mg dl. So comparing to the people who have blood glucose level less than 500 mg per dl, those who had blood glucose greater than 500 mg dl will have 9.33 times more risk of having a high level of CKMB, which may lead to further complications. Okay, is it clear? So this is a simple logistic regression where we have considered only one independent variable. So we have one more variable, blood pH. So simple logistic regression to assess the variable blood pH. So here independent variable is blood pH. So the category is less than 7.35 and greater than 7.35. And the dependent variable is CKMB. It is high or low. And the question here is, what is the probability or risk or chance of CKMB will be high for the patient with the known blood pH level less than 7.35. So when the pH level is less than 7.35, what is the chance they will get a high level of CKMB value? So if they get a high level of CKMB value, it may lead to further bad prognosis or more complications. So this is the question. So for answering this question, we are going to run the simple logistic regression analysis. So here we can obtain the regression coefficients. You can see here the regression coefficient for blood pH, it is 1.386, and here the odds ratio is 4. And if you see the confidence interval, can anyone interpret this confidence interval? Can anyone interpret this? How to interpret the confidence interval for a odds ratio? How you will interpret whether this odds ratio is a significant one? Can we say it is a significant? Can anyone put the message in the chat box? Can you interpret this odds ratio? Is there any response in the chat box? I couldn't see the chat box since it is a full screen. Is there any response in the chat box?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, I will interpret this odds ratio. So here, if you see, I told you earlier, when I look at the confidence interval of odds ratio, 1 should not be included in the odds ratio. So here it is between 0.5 to 29.096. So 1 is included in this odds ratio. So I cannot consider this as a significant odds ratio. And if you see the significance here, p-value, it is also not significant. So this cannot be considered as a significant odds ratio. So here the reference category is considered as greater than 7.35. The people whose pH value is greater than 7.35, we are comparing to those people, and we are looking at whether the people with pH value less than 7.35 will have a higher CKMB value. So this is the interpretation. So now we have done simple logistic regression. That is, we have considered only one independent variable, either blood pH or blood glucose value. So here, if we are interested in together to look at blood pH and blood glucose in together in assessing this dependent variable CKMB, we can go for this multiple logistic regression. So here, this is multiple logistic regression analysis. We have one more analysis called multinomial logistic regression analysis. That is different. People many times report multivariable logistic regression analysis. That is also wrong. It is multiple logistic regression analysis. Here, the dependent variable what we have considered is CKMB. It is high or low. And the independent variables, I have considered more than one independent variable. Multiple logistic regression is nothing but we have one dependent variable of binary nature, and independent variables I can have more than one independent variable. This is mainly to find out or to study the association between the independent variables with the binary dependent variable. Here, what is the question I have here is, what is the probability or risk or chance of CKMB will be high for the patient with the known blood glucose level greater than 500 and pH less than 7.35. So what we are going to assess is, if blood glucose is the main parameter you are looking at, you can see what is happening, that is when it is adjusting for the other covariates. That is, even if pH is also included, whether blood glucose will be a significant predictor or not. That we can look at in the multiple logistic regression analysis. So to answer this question, we can run a multiple logistic regression analysis. So here we have the coefficient of regression, the constant, blood glucose value, for blood glucose, excuse me, blood glucose 2.58, the coefficient of regression, and for blood pH it is 1.88. And if you see the odds ratio, previously when we were doing simple logistic regression, the odds ratio was only 9.33. So here the odds ratio has changed to 13.25, and corresponding confidence interval also changed, and the p-value is also changed here. If you see here, in the confidence interval 1.17 to 149.99, so it is not including the number 1. So I can consider the odds ratio is a significant odds ratio. So how to interpret this odds ratio? Here what the reference category we have considered, the reference category is less than 500 mg per dl, and for pH it is greater than 7.35 pH. So for each variable, if you are running your multiple logistic regression analysis in any packages like SPSS, you should be clear with the reference category. If the reference category is not clearly mentioned, the odds ratio won't be odds ratio what you are getting won't be the correct one. It may be, sometimes you may be wrongly interpreting the odds ratio value. So the reference category should be clearly mentioned when you are running a logistic regression. For this categorical variable, the reference category is less than 500 mg per dl. So here I have considered greater than 7.35, because the people who are less than 7.35 is more prone to have a CKMB value high level. So the reference category what we are choosing should be appropriate to the clinical term what we are considering as an independent variable. So here the independent variable consider blood glucose. The reference category is less than 500 mg per dl and it is not including 1. So we are considering it as a significant odds ratio and we have a significant p-value also. But when you look at blood pH, the value is coefficient of regression is 1.88 and the odds ratio seems to be 6.56, but it includes 1 in the confidence interval. So we cannot consider it as a significant odds ratio, and if you see the p-value, it is not a significant p-value. So we cannot consider this as a significant predictor. So this is with the multiple logistic regression analysis. So I was talking about multinomial logistic regression. So, but I'm not going to explain in detail. Here, what we have considered is the dependent variable is CKMB, which we have categorized as high level or low level. Suppose I feel that it can be classified as mild, moderate, or severe. There I will be having more than 2 categories. Now I have only high level or low level. Suppose I wish to categorize this CKMB value as mild, moderate, or severe. There I will be having more than 3 categories in my dependent variable. So when I have more than 3 categories in my dependent variable, we will be performing multinomial logistic regression analysis. The conditions for independent variables remains the same like a binary logistic regression, but only difference is in the dependent variable. The dependent variable, if I have more than 2 categories, I can perform a multinomial logistic regression analysis. So this is with logistic regression. As a summary of correlation coefficient, I started with the correlation coefficient with a scenario. Correlation coefficient is we are trying to study what is the relationship between 2 continuous or ordinal variables. The correlation coefficient value lies between -1 to +1. And if it is -1, it is a perfect negative correlation. And if it is +1, it is a positive correlation. And if it is a correlation value is equal to 0, it shows that there is no relationship existing between the considered 2 variables. When performing a correlation analysis, we won't be considering whether it is an independent variable or a dependent variable. We will consider relationship between 2 variables. So whenever you are performing a correlation analysis, it is better to report what is the correlation coefficient R value, 95% confidence interval, what is the test of significance along with the p-value. That is how you should report your correlation coefficient. And scatter graph also you can use to represent the graphical representation of the correlation coefficient. And regarding this linear regression analysis, I was discussing about linear regression. Linear regression, we will be using only the continuous variables. So here, simple linear regression, I have used only one independent variable. That is my dependent variable. I have a dependent variable and my independent variable is only one independent variable that is also of continuous nature. Then we can perform a simple linear regression. If I have more than one independent variable of continuous nature, I can perform a multiple linear regression analysis. So when you are reporting the regression analysis, it is not necessary to report for all the variables. Suppose you are multiple linear regression analysis we are performing and you are more interested in a primary independent variable, you can mention that when adjusted for other covariates, whether this primary independent variable is a significant predictor to predict the dependent variable or not. That is enough. It is not necessary to report all the independent variables considered. What is the primary independent variable you have considered and what is the primary dependent variable you have considered? With respect to those 2 variables, you can give a conclusion like when adjusted for other variables, when adjusted for other covariates, whether this independent variable. Suppose, for example, in our scenario, I have considered blood glucose as my primary independent variable. I will consider whether this blood glucose variable, when adjusted for other variable, also act as a significant predictor or not. We can report in like that. We should always report what is the confidence interval of the regression coefficients, confidence interval of the regression coefficients, what is the test of significance along with the p-values. And regarding logistic regression, we have, when we have a binary or a categorical dependent variable, that is binary dependent variable, we can perform binary logistic regression. So here dependent variable should be binary, that is only two categories should be there, like yes or no, present or absent, like that. Binary dependent variable. Regarding the independent variable, my independent variable can be a binary variable, can be a categorical variable, that is I can have more than two categories also, an ordinal variable or a continuous variable. I can have any type of independent variable to run a simple binary logistic regression. But more important point is my dependent variable should be a binary dependent variable, outcome variable, dependent or an outcome variable or a response variable. It should be a binary variable. So when I want to consider only one independent variable with one dependent binary variable, I can perform a simple logistic regression. And when I have more than one independent variable with one dependent binary variable, I can perform a multiple logistic regression analysis. So as I told earlier, when your dependent variable is not of binary nature, if the categories are more, that is more than two, we can perform multinomial logistic regression analysis. And whenever you are performing logistic regression analysis, more importance should be given to specify what is your reference category. Otherwise, the interpretation and your conclusion what you are giving will be wrong. So the reference category should be clearly mentioned whenever you are performing a logistic regression analysis. That is all from my side. Any doubts? Now it is open for discussion. Any doubts or any questions?
Any doubts or clarification, you can put in the chat box.
Somebody has put nice presentations.
Thank you, sir. There are no questions.
There are no questions, madam, so far the chat box. That means they have understood the topic very well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you all. Thank you very
Thank-
much for giving this opportunity, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam, for your elaborate lecture on correlation and regression with nice examples and tables. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, shall I conclude, sir?
Yeah, all of them are presented well. Because sometimes what happens, the mathematical part, it goes above the head, I think sometimes. But still we should know the basic statistics just to tell the statistician what actually we want. So that much if you know, I think that's also good enough. So if you can calculate on your own, that is the best. But at least you should know what actually we should get from the statistician.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to thank our speakers, Dr. N. Sri Kumaran Nair and Dr. M. Rajeshwari, for having delivered wonderful lectures. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. I thank our management. I thank our dean, Professor P.F. Photo, our director research, Professor Vishnu Bhatt, our dean HPE madam, Dr. V.N. Mahalakshmi, our medical superintendent, Professor K. Jay Singh, for their encouragement and support for conducting such wonderful academic activities. I thank all the participants for having attended this program and having made this program a great success. I would like to thank the organizers for having made me the host for today's program. I thank the technical people and each and everyone who helped us in the successful completion of this program. Thank you all.